All right. Another year, another proof reserve panel. I'm glad we're all here. Excited today to talk about stablecoins and the role of auditing. We have a great panel for you. Um, all of these people have done amazing things and are working on amazing projects in this space. I want to give them the opportunity to introduce themselves. Tell us who you are, what you're working on, maybe a little bit about yourself. We'll start with Jeremy on the end and come this way.
Hi guys, I'm Jeremy Kramer. I work at TrueLayer, which is the largest open banking firm in the UK and Europe. And we've recently started moving into the crypto space, trying to build out crypto native products. And so our team is looking at what those products are, how we can build these crypto native products, but also integrate it into our traditional financial products, such as open banking.
Yes, hello, Gijs Opdweeg. I founded Stabler, which is a euro stablecoin around 2 years ago. We are building it within the regulatory framework, really focusing on high transparency and very low counterparty risk.
Hey everybody, Clayton Lowry, co-founder and chief strategy officer at the Network Firm. We're a crypto native accounting firm and the largest provider of proof of reserves. And excited y'all are here to listen to us today.
Hey, I'm Chris O'Reilly, working at Harrison Trotter LLP. We're a traditional accounting firm based in central London of about 135 professionals. And we've been providing services to the digital asset space since 2017 and believe we've become one of the largest companies in the world to provide these services based on the clientele that we've been acting for, such as 1inch, Wintermute, blockchain.com, the Sandbox, and now doing live proof reserves with Chainlink.
Cool. We're going to get to proof of reserve, we're going to get to auditing a little bit, but I just want to start, we've been hearing a lot about tokenization. Tokenization of real world assets, especially at this conference, has been a recurring theme. Open question to start this off, what are the key benefits of tokenizing real world assets? Either traditional financial assets that are being now tokenized or what we're talking about here today, stablecoins.
So I'll start here. So the key benefits of tokenizing real-world assets is bringing liquidity on-chain and giving people the opportunity to transact with these tokenized real-world assets in a permissionless way, right, on blockchain technology. So that liquidity and the permissionless nature gives people the freedom to transact with these types of assets.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think the open nature, giving them the qualities that like Bitcoin and Ethereum and other digital assets have, being able to fractionalize them, use them in DeFi is really important. Also, like since we're kind of talking about auditing as well, the auditability of a blockchain is pretty epic. It's actually like really an accounting innovation when it boils down to it. And so giving those qualities to all these real world assets is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, from a stablecoin perspective, I think that it's kind of the bridge between real-world assets and on-chain is handled by stablecoins. And from a stablecoin perspective, I think it's all now about transparency with proof of reserve, of course, to get the bridge and the easy, seamless function of real-world assets into the on-chain world.
From my perspective, when you think of it through the eyes of a regulator, the importance of a stablecoin is that it serves as a flight to safety for investors. A lot of the youth are investing in crypto assets or NFTs that lose its value, and it's extremely volatile. And so stablecoins serve as a safety net for investors to move into to either preserve gains or actually just off-ramp and go back into the TradFi world. But it's a flight to safety in times of volatility as well.
Excellent. Chris, Clayton, both of you guys worked for firms that started off in traditional finance and have now moved into working in the digital asset space. Why make the shift? Why move from just traditional to getting involved in this space?
Well, the space is like key turn technology, right? Like massively innovative. And building on what Clayton said, it's like a massive piece for accounting and auditability. So it just made sense for us to move into that space and provide these services in which we have built the expertise and the knowledge since 2017 to be able to really streamline the process and be able to create maximum value to our clients that require the services.
Yeah, I think we know it's inevitable that this is the future of finance, so the service providers have to be there as well. Convincing them was fun. It's convincing risk-averse accounting people to jump in was a fun experience, but it's inevitable that this is going to be the future of this industry, and so yeah, we knew we needed to service it, and we have to. Eventually, there won't even be like a digital assets practice. Just be normal.
For the other half of the panel, when we look at the standards that have been set, kind of guidance, both of you guys work for firms that adhere to the guidance that's set, but also help set a precedent. What is the guidance you've seen in this space, and how do you in your organization look at that guidance when you look at either creating new stable coins or just monitoring the space from the sidelines?
The guidance, I mean, regulation is a barrier, but it's also extremely limited in what the regulator requires you to do as a stablecoin issuer. If you're issuing a stablecoin under the FCA's rules, you have to do an annual safeguarding audit. That's one audit per year, which is absolutely not enough in a real-time system. That crypto never sleeps. So the idea is that as the issuer, you have to find ways to go above and beyond the regulatory requirements, and that comes in the form of monthly attestations or even real-time attestations. And the idea of that is to build up market confidence and consumer trust. And the regulation sets a minimum standard, but with crypto, given that even from a banking point of view, it's extremely high risk, and given the scrutiny and what's happened to stablecoins in the past, you have to be able to show real-time attestations to produce market confidence. Otherwise, there's always going to be a risk, whether it's in the form of an information gap or a trust gap, because you're waiting so long to actually show that you're backing your stablecoin one-to-one with reserves.
Yeah, I think that's it's crucial to have that and to look at it. You will have multiple sources on chain, and you have multiple sources in custody off chain, and those needs to be combined. And it's very, very important that at first trust is around here, that people really can trust on what is backed by and where this is going. So for us, it's a crucial way to get that done and to get a real clear proof of reserve of multiple sources on both sides in a seamless, good way for us.
Just to add on to that, I think the key thing with the Chainlink proof of reserve is the proof of reserve implements this secure minting function into the smart contract, right? So if the on-chain supply needs to be less than or equal to the off-chain reserve, and the stablecoin will physically not be able to mint new tokens if that condition is not met. So I think that is a huge thing for the assurance in the community as well as the live feeds.
Clayton, Chris has started to open this discussion on proof of reserve. Chainlink has worked with a network firm, I think, for coming up on almost 3 years now, if not a little bit longer. Can you explain exactly how the network firm works with Chainlink oracles and how proof of reserve is generated and kind of delivered on chain?
Yeah, in the stablecoin example, we aggregate several custodial sources, recently more moving into treasuries with yields going up. And then we run infrastructure on the blockchain side to aggregate those like token liabilities. And then it's a pretty simple check between those two. We have conditions built into the system to protect ourselves and our clients from bad data coming in, which is always a potential problem with live APIs. And then we run a Chainlink node. We build an API of those results in addition to a PDF that's report from the AICPA standards. And then that API is delivered to you guys and the oracles, which we're also a node operator. So we put that data on chain every day or every time the supply adjusts by a certain percentage. And then, like Chris mentioned, then the issuer of the stablecoin has to basically check that feed as they go to mint tokens.
And from a stablecoin issue perspective, we would love to do that on a minute-by-minute or even second-by-second basis, but the problem there is that most of the time for your custody, you work with traditional asset managers. And we already try to do our utmost best to at least make it a daily basis. But that's because you are combining the on-chain with the off-chain traditional world in which asset managers don't on average work with APIs and real-time data. So I think that would be a huge improvement for the industry if that step would be included as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, dealing with that data is not fun.
Oh, it's difficult, and one of the things that's making it more difficult, we've talked about before, is that we're increasingly seeing a multi-chain world. It's not just Ethereum anymore. Can maybe from the stablecoin side and the auditing side, can you guys maybe explain what are the benefits of a multi-chain ecosystem? What does it open up for stablecoins? And then what added complexity comes with going multi-chain, and how do you approach interoperability?
You go first.
Please.
I think multi-chain is crucial. We launch on ERC20, but from a speed and cost-efficient perspective, it's important to have multiple chains and easy bridging between those chains. But in choosing what would be a good chain to develop on, I think it's not an individual choice. We work together in a working group of several stablecoins, which represent around 15 different currencies. And if we manage to combine our opinion and go in the same direction, next to having more traction and easy liquidity on those chains, we also create almost instantly a new FX product on that chain in which seamless, good, fast FX transactions can also be done.
Yeah, from the way we look at which chains we deploy on is first, where are the users, right? And what are the use cases on that chain? Because there's different chains with different use cases. I see Solana being used primarily for payments right now. You have a lot of different PSPs now signing up to Solana to use it in that use case. And then you have other apps on Ethereum, and so you look at these chains and you say, where's the liquidity, where's the volume, which assets are supported on those chains, what are the network fees? And from a tech integration point of view, it's very easy to then implement and integrate with EVMs and layer 2s to fulfill other use cases. So it's very much about supporting multiple chains, but looking at it from a variety of perspectives.
We go where they go, so I'm pretty indifferent to whatever blockchains, as long as it's one that doesn't have like security considerations that could compromise the integrity of the data we're reading. I think on the Chainlink side, it does bring up some complications, as reserves don't always communicate across, like the feeds don't communicate cross-chain. But I think that's what we're going to solve with CCIP, right?
I also think the multi-chain world is healthy for competition in the space, right? It's healthy for innovation. It's going to basically force other entities in the space to innovate, and either whatever the main demand is to like minimize network fees or like scalability. I think it's like really important for the space, and CCIP is obviously going to help us navigate that.
We saw with CCIP POC over the summer. Now we're seeing private banking chains as well as a possibility. So certainly it seems like it may just continue to get more complex, but for good reason. Let's look to the future a little bit. There's some questions we've heard and would love to get your thoughts on. We look at stablecoins today. If you look like a US dollar stablecoin, there's many, and there's many more launching. PayPal recently launched a stablecoin. As you guys see it, are we living in a world where we're going to have multiple US dollar stablecoins or multi-denominational stablecoins where there's 5 euros, 5 pounds, 5 US dollars, or will someone eventually rise above the rest? How do you guys look into your magic ball and see the future?
So the way I see it is, I think it will be a multi-coin world. I don't think there'll be a single entity that basically denominates all the stable coins, because I think that's not as healthy for the space, like I said before, like competition and innovation, right? I think that what is needed for the space is as much competition as possible, because again, that is what is going to drive innovation. And it also gives the community and users of these networks the flexibility and the freedom to basically transact with the currencies that they freely choose.
Yeah, I think we'll see a proliferation of a bunch of them now, and then probably some consolidation, especially on the fiat-backed side. But then I think we'll see some cool experiments on like different bucket asset-backed tokens, maybe some with a little percentage of a commodity, or like I know that Trueflation's working on that flat coin, which is pretty cool. So I think overall, a lot of innovation and a lot of options, but maybe on the government, where the government ones care more about, we could see some consolidation down the line.
I think if the quality standards are high and also measured, so we know what's the liability of a stablecoin, then for users it doesn't really matter how many stablecoins there are, because at the end you will just see USD, Euro, or any currency in there, and it's handled in various stablecoins in the back, just where the liquidity is. So there's a real opportunity for multiple stablecoins for all different currencies. I think, like everything practically in this world is priced in a US dollar way. So there is a big market for, of course, for USD stablecoins. But last week Binance had an article about the implementation of MiCA and how that affects working with USD stablecoins in the European market. So I'm a bit biased there, but for my opinion, I think from the 1st of July next year, when MiCA is introduced really for stablecoins, there will be a flow to Euro because more assets will be priced in Euro, and there will be more demand for liquidity in Euro as well. So I think that will be the start of Euro stablecoins. And even if the market still is priced in USD, there's always still the need to hedge the Euro-USD risk. And for that reason as well, you need Euro stablecoins. So, and then you create the use cases of lending, payments, settlements. So I think it's a very broad market, and more solutions will prevail, but the quality will set the market, because in any DeFi pool is as strong as the weakest stablecoin.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be loads of new stablecoins coming in the near future. I mean, PayPal has a successful stablecoin opportunity here because they have a massive platform with a lot of distribution. And other companies with a similar setup to them will also benefit from that, and it'll bring in new revenue streams. And they're also diversifying into crypto. So they're actually catering to all these new revenue streams and possibilities that just wasn't there before. You know, and from our perspective, the FCA hasn't authorized a single stablecoin issuer in the UK. Matter of fact, I think they've authorized 43 firms in the entire existence of that unit. So stablecoin diversity, first and foremost, is really important to taking a step towards global mass adoption of Web3, because I think stablecoins is the way we on-ramp the next billion of users. So we need a GBP stablecoin, because if merchants, they're happy to accept Bitcoin and other assets, maybe even Dogecoin, as a form of payment, but they don't want to settle in Dogecoin. They want to settle in either fiat right now, or one-to-one with a GBP-backed stablecoin backed with their national currency.
So it sounds like we're going to see more stablecoins in the future. If there's someone sitting in this audience today, or maybe someone watching online, maybe a team, and they're looking to launch a stablecoin, all of you have experienced or have closely observed these projects go to market. What advice would you give to a new asset issuer, be it a stablecoin or other tokenized asset, before launching? What are the things they should be thinking about before launching?
I'd say one of the biggest things to drive adoption of your stablecoin is this giving assurance to your community, right? So transparency, so the live proof reserve feeds, monthly attestations, getting voluntary statutory audit or a statutory audit if you're required. That will give your community and your users the assurance and the confidence to basically transact with your stablecoin on chain. Yeah, that's, I'd say, that assurance level is a big one.
Yeah, I'm biased, but I totally agree with that. I don't want to see this industry and the RWA and stablecoin industry make the same mistakes the centralized exchange industry has, and I don't want anything that catastrophic to happen. So prioritizing transparency up front would be huge.
I think if you would now start issuing a stablecoin, I would only do it in a region where there is a regulatory framework or there is a regulatory framework coming up, because I think it's easier to start from scratch within a regulatory framework than transform from being non-regulated into a regulated framework, because that's really going to cause big issues.
I would say don't launch a USD stablecoin. There's 99.3% of all stablecoins in the market today are pegged to the US dollar, so just stop already. And then, on the other side is, if you do launch a stablecoin, really think hard about what your go-to-market strategy and your distribution strategy is, because there are tons of stablecoins out there now. What makes yours different? How is yours going to be used? What set of use cases are you really going to cater to? Are you bridging TradFi with DeFi? Are you getting into the payments use cases? Is cross-border payments using your stablecoin something that you're looking into? Really focus in on what the use case is and then attack the market from that angle.
In terms of tokenization, we look back at the last year, you look at DeFi yield going down, interest rates rising, and then I think, Clayton, you mentioned more tokenized treasuries come on chain. Is there anything that's not tokenized now that you guys see as an opportunity here in the next year or two, what might be tokenized?
I think a big one that I could see potentially in future is the tokenization of fractional reserves with banks, right? So applying this like live feed of proof of reserves would be really interesting to see in that context, because customers and central banks would be able to see at any point in time whether these banks or custodians have sufficient reserves to be lending out to their customers and other customers, essentially.
Yeah, there's a few different types of projects we're working with, tokenizing commodities, gold. I think tokenizing gold actually kind of gives it a future, whereas right now it's not really built for the digital age. And so I think, especially as this inflation problem continues, we'll see a lot of movement there. Also, tokenizing real estate, it's a very difficult problem, and even more exciting are some of these like complex financial instruments like private credit and some things like that that'll be really complicated and bring on a lot of valuation consequences as well.
I think that I don't know which assets are really at this point good to be tokenized, but I think DeFi will get way more traction over the next the next 12 months, especially in Europe, because within MiCA, of course, there's a carve out for DeFi. So there are opportunities within DeFi, if it's really decentralized, which are not there in the centralized world. So I think there will be a big push again for DeFi, and there will flow more liquidity into the DeFi space.
The first thing that comes to my head is Taylor Swift and what's gone on with Ticketmaster. So I say disrupt the whole ticketing stream and tokenize that, so these Swifties don't have to pay 40 grand for a ticket, and scalpers are going to be out of business, and everybody's happy. They get to see their favorite artist.
I think I just saw someone put a laptop, so that idea is out there now. Yeah, we're wrapping up on time here. I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about your future, what you're working on, and a little chance to brag on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so currently Harrison Trotter, we're going to continue implementing this live style of assurance wherever we can across just any audit area, right? Also, what we're working on is we're just working on maximizing assurance to the space, because that's, in our opinion, what the space needs. So examples would be coding or programming programs that will be able to audit 100% of the revenue of a large payment processor, for example, which is kind of unseen in our industry and traditional finance. So what our vision is to just maximize the revenue in the space, because that's what prospective and current participants need to have the confidence and security to participate and invest in these assets.
Clayton?
Yeah, I would say continuing to drive transparency forward in this industry, encouraging issuers to be as transparent as possible, not just on real time, but also the reserve makeup and the quality of the assets that underlie the issuance. And also working with you guys to continue decentralizing the source, like I talked about earlier, and working towards this decentralized audit network, which I think is kind of our next evolution in the end game of this RWA transparency.
Yeah, we have built a Euro stablecoin, so that part is done. Now we have to build the ecosystem, because you can have a stablecoin, but as of today, the Euro market is still very, very small. So we are actively working with our partners. We are both in our seed round and within the market to create the right protocols in DeFi to have the right liquidity on the right places, and really build that whole ecosystem so that Euro can pick up and can reduce that incredible 99.3% of the USD market.
At TrueLayer, the main part of our business is focused on really building out meaningful, competitive, and disruptive payment products, most of that focusing on open banking. We've created this new division to really start bringing in crypto into our products, looking how to embed crypto into the traditional payment products that we have today, and starting with an on and off ramp, and then moving towards our vision of introducing a GBP stablecoin regulated by the FCA. That's really where we are, but it's really about enhancing and building our crypto native products, but looking to actually bring this into the fold with TrueLayer's key product line right now.
Amazing. Well, that concludes our panel. Thank you to our audience, and also thank you to our amazing panelists. Let's get a round of applause for these guys.